book has definitely made a big impact on me, in regards to who I've been in previous relationships. And I know it's an integration from now on. It's something that's very, very big, very profound in the relationships, especially a big contrast to what I've been reading. I just read a book, Pandora's Box, again, from what's his name?
Yeah. Gregor, now it's 2 minutes after 7. I will keep letting people in when they're coming, but hello everybody. Welcome to joining our call with Zak Roedde. I'm really honored, Zak, that you're with us and that we will share together the experience of the last 3 books that you wrote on the polarities in relationships. I am really enjoying the group relationship of your dreams that you are guiding and where you are a coach with 2 other coaches that I also really enjoy, David Miller and Mark Binet. So with Gregor, we feel really happy that you're with us. And maybe just for the beginning, just tell us where you're from and maybe something small about yourself, whatever.
Well, thank you for inviting me on this platform. It's great to be here. I think you must be one of my biggest fans because I think ever since you found me, you've been just inviting people and telling everybody about me. And now that I got books, telling people about my book. So I'm really grateful for that. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm from Ontario, Canada. I actually live up kind of in the middle of nowhere on an island where there's like I don't know, 1,500 people up here. And so it's really, it's great that I actually have this internet to be able to do this. I now have 3, I don't know what you call them, but 3 Turbo Hub routers so that I have enough internet to keep going and doing these calls throughout the month. What else is there to say? So what would you like me to say?
Yeah, no, I will just go where, because I felt the energy. I don't know, we just connected through Facebook, and I saw, okay, the coach for polarities, I just saw, and then I was just following, and I was like, I have this talent to be drawn somewhere where it's really potent for the collective, very potent for everybody to work on themselves. And I feel the relationships right now in general, this is like a collective problematic, what I feel, because the heritage of our ancestors is like, it's so much on the unconscious levels still going on. And I knew the works of David Deida, and I just said to Gregor today that I feel that all of you 3 guys, you, Mark, and David, that you're somehow a new generation, like the frequency of here and now, with a very like authentic personal experience coming in this coaching, which I appreciate very much. And I feel this is such a blessing because I can connect to it through my heart and through my own experience. And I was deeply touched because I didn't know why you started this relationship coaching. I didn't know about your loss of your son and the experiences that you had with your ex-girlfriend and later with your wife. And I think you're the first man, it's only a week, the content that I read, The Worthy Woman, and now The Irresistible Feminine, where I where you very directly in with the essence say how it is and also guide the person. So this is mainly why I'm such a fan of yours. And
Yes.
I never heard this, that every man has the need to lead, you know,
Yeah.
this is the way he um, feels and like, I don't know what would be the right word, but confirms his worthiness and his value, and all this.
Yeah, all of those problems that we usually have, they just disappear. We're content, and I definitely agree on that. Yeah, it's an
Mhm.
inner feeling that's inherent to us. If we are able
Yeah.
to satisfy a woman and serve her, truly, then this is the accomplishment of my life, in some part internally, So I'm very,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm very grateful for what you wrote. I'm also shocked about everything I've read, and my previous relationships, where I've always tried to make the woman and a man equal,
Hmm.
and how I did it. It's mainly how I did it is in a way that I've moved out of the relationship, out of the real leadership role for the both of us. So I said, like, you're the leader and I'm the leader, we're two leaders, but here is a whole new concept, and it just feels so right what you wrote.
Yeah, and that's such a common thing in our society today where we have been kind of programmed and brainwashed, and I have too for most of my life, to believe that is like the way that you treat a woman, because I think most men, good men want to treat women as an equal, right? And we've been programmed to believe that the way to do that is like, here, you lead half the time, I'll lead half the time, we'll have this androgynous relationship together and somehow make it work. And it's that very mindset, especially when women have it too, that causes so much of this conflict because you're literally going against your instinctual programming as a man and as a woman. And then, we start to think that, obviously we have our own traumas and all that kind of stuff as well that we have to work through to get to this dynamic. And that takes a lot of pushing through fear and all that stuff. But a lot of these problems that men and women have, it's just because of this false belief. And once you realize what the real problem is, that it's like, no, you don't treat a woman as an equal by letting her lead half the relationship, right? That doesn't feel good for a man, and it doesn't feel good for a woman. And especially once both partners are on board, it's like and you really feel what it's like to lead and be respected as the leader in that relationship. Everything just starts to change. Or it's like, wow, I just want to give so much of myself to my woman, right? And it's like that is how you treat her as an equal, is considering her through your leadership and considering her as an equal um, through your leadership, and considering her feelings as just as important as yours.
Yeah, yeah. So I would just like to add that, because people, not everybody know your story, but it was the son that were your son, your was having a disease, right? How I understood, and he was not like, he really needed a lot of care. So I saw how interesting you, at the end of the book of Irresistibly Feminine, you say everything happens with a reason, because it's probably a year when your son passed away. I'm truly sorry for
It is.
this loss. Yeah. And I just understand that, in a way, when, I never thought that, like, if I say something, what I need to my man, that I am leading. I was never thinking about that. I understood about the vulnerability and I was vulnerable, but I was not as well aware about the subtlety in the energetic field, how to be without, vulnerable, without, you say, without any expectation that this what I am expressing will have any solution or any response or anything at all, just expressing for the sake of expressing my feelings. So, and yeah, I feel it's really interesting for all the women to that have problems in the relationships, and that maybe still have the mindset not to submit, maybe to feel less, to read this book, because I said 2 days ago, I feel like I have a doctorate on failed relationships, because my masculine was always very strong, and because I just see the solution, I just know it. It's so hard for me not to say. It's like, oh yeah, and yeah, and also the traumatic field with me is like this, so I'm working a lot on it, and it gave me an amazing insight. And I was amazed and deeply touched when I read that uh, figuring out that you don't want your wife to tell you what to do to make her feel better in this situation, and also you felt for the first time. This is also what David said when I asked him when did you became like an adult, when did you felt yourself to become a mature devoted masculine. He said when my first child was born. So I felt something similar in an initiation with you, and with a special situation, really, how you were frustrated, and how this frustration you handled it, and you found yourself the solution, and all the situation made you a leader of the relationship. And I can imagine this was quite hard, because it was a special situation with the health of your son, and also with the relationship where you have no solution but to learn yourself. I really admire that. And yeah, I really
Yeah,
admire.
so I'll talk about that a bit. So and I'm sure there's many that'll be watching this that haven't read my story yet, which is kind of quite outlined in Irresistibly Feminine. My background for most of my life, I've been like a pretty, we'll call it selfish person, right? Like very self-focused, very interested in self-improvement, but it's all kind of for myself and like what I can get out of it. I've dated many women, and I've always been like a kind person in the sense that like I like having fun, I like making people happy, that kind of stuff. But it was really about me the whole time, where it's like I want to, I'll give you what I want to give you because that makes me feel good, but I'm not actually really interested in your needs. I'm not really interested in what you need to be happy. I'm interested in doing and giving what makes me happy, and if that makes you happy too, awesome, and if it doesn't, well, I don't really care. And that really changed that mindset in a big way when I had my son. And this, I think for many men, this is when they grow up from being a boy really into a man, especially because of the issues surrounding his birth, where he had so many health problems. We didn't know if he was going to live. And I just felt this overwhelming sense for the first time of like, I need to do whatever I can for him, right? Like, it doesn't matter, like, screw my needs. Like, my needs aren't even important right now. All I care about is making sure that his needs are met in whatever capacity that I can meet them, right? As a man and as a protector and as a father. And, like learning whatever I have to about like my wife's nutrition, and like talking to doctors about like, no, I don't want this done to my son. This is not a good medical decision, right? This is setting him up for life for problems. all this kind of stuff. And so for the first time, it wasn't about, I don't care about protecting myself. It's not about providing for myself. It's about protecting and providing for somebody else. And so my heart was just fully open in that way. And this is really important. It was so easy to keep my heart open with that full devotion for him, because he wasn't doing anything to get in the way of that, right? He wasn't leading. He wasn't telling me what to do. He wasn't telling me I was doing a bad job in the kitchen or anything like that. It was just, my heart was able to continue to give, and it was never shut down, right? It's just, I will do anything for you for always. And what I discovered, that was what gave me so much of the information for my book, because, and for transforming my own relationship with my wife, because I felt, okay, this is what it feels like to be fully devoted to someone. I've never felt anything like this before. This is the most incredible feeling in the world as a man, to have that sense of, like, because it's a sense of responsibility, right? It's like, I feel so responsible for someone who's not myself, and I will do anything I can to make my son happy, right? And then once I fully felt that, I started to feel it sort of for my wife, right, at times. But then what I started to notice is, oh, there's just so many things that she does and says that just completely obliterates that desire to want to give in that same way. And that was around the time that I actually discovered Mark Binet, and then soon after David Miller, who were much further into this at the time than I was. And then I just went crazy with learning every single thing I possibly could, right? It's because, like, oh my God, this is the most amazing feeling. I need this. I need to create this. Oh, someone's trying to talk. I need to create this for my wife as well, and have the same experience. And the most important part of that I discovered was, okay, I've got to stop her from leading in every way. And leading, what I realized, is so much more than just, her telling me what to do. There's so many ways that a woman is leading in ways that she's not aware of. The man is aware of it. If he's in touch with his body, he may not know what exactly is going on, but he knows how it feels. He knows it feels bad whenever his woman is leading in any way. And what's really important for women to understand is that to a man, especially a devotional man who just wants to give his leadership in every way possible, he receives his woman's leadership as a form of disrespect. Not just a form of disrespect, but also it's like, when a woman is trying to lead in any kind of way, a man is no longer able to give from that place of devotion, because the only way that a man can give, the only way a man can devote to his woman, is through his leadership. If a woman leads him in any way, right, even just saying, like, hey, can you get me a coffee, right? Now the only choice that a man has is to submit to her leadership. He can't devote. He can only submit to her leadership, and that does not feel good. And he might do it, right? He might be like, oh yeah, okay, she needs a coffee, I'll do that for her. And in his mind, he's like, okay, yeah, I don't want to be a piece of crap, and she needs a coffee, I'll go get it for her, but it doesn't feel good. Mm-hmm. And what I felt when I was learning all this stuff is like, oh, maybe I am a selfish piece of crap, because before I started understanding this and putting it together, is like, well, if she's just asking me for such a small thing, and I just don't want to do it at all, I don't want to help her do these things, I just must be a narcissist. I just must be like a selfish piece of crap who, I don't even deserve to be in a relationship if this is how I feel, right? But what I didn't understand is that, no, I'm actually a very giving person, but I can only give when it's through my leadership, not through hers. And the way to bring that leadership out and to really inspire a man's devotion, that there's a few, feminine communication things that she can do, but the big one is to get really connected to her heart and just express vulnerably without trying to get any outcome. It's just expressing how she feels, just showing what's in her heart to her man without trying to get any outcome, and then leaving it up to the man to decide, you know what? I want to give you a gift and solve this problem. I don't want you to feel hurt anymore. I don't want you to feel scared anymore. I don't want you to feel whatever. I'm going to adjust my leadership because I want you to be happy.
Yeah, thank you, Zach. Yeah, this is mainly from the Irresistible Feminine and Worthy Woman. For me, was amazing to read. The Worthy Woman was just like, I can receive, I can receive. I just felt, oh, my heart was like, wow, yeah, this whole because you said if a woman goes into leading, that's the best tip or recipe for the burn-ups. And I'm healing from the burn-ups the last 2 years. It's like I'm still not there. It's true. I can totally relate with this. Maybe Gregor can say some of his what touched him with the "Don't Let Her Lead," and we can continue the talk.
Yeah, one thing came to my mind is that a lot of craziness inside of me was always spawned from not knowing what she feels, and it's been a frustration getting that out of her, but by reading your book, I came clear about that I need to give more and more space to her to express it, and got really clear on that. How I knew it before, but now it's clearer because I've read it from you, and it's now just me who thinks about it, that women have difficulty expressing how they feel because maybe we'll just stomp all over them. We won't hear them. We won't give them space, or we'll try to use that in some way to manipulate to get our needs met, So that's what I found really important. This women tells us she expresses how she feels, and then if I have that feedback, I can do something with it, and I want to. I have a constant desire to improve myself, to be able to solve something, to bring something into relationship that will make it work. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's it is such a hard thing for a woman to be vulnerable, right? Like that is really a terrifying thing for most women, and there's two main reasons for it, right? One is so many women have had their feelings denied in early childhood, right? Like how many women have been shamed for like, oh, you shouldn't feel this way, you shouldn't feel angry, you shouldn't feel sad, and not necessarily parents who are like trying to shame them or anything like that. And in many cases, parents are just trying to help them, right? It's like, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. Like it's okay, right? But to an innocent child who doesn't understand, having their feelings not have the space available to fully express their feelings with their parents and fully honor all of their feelings and show full acceptance and love to all their feelings, it does send them the message that it's not okay to express their feelings. Or even if just their parents feel a little uncomfortable in the presence of a child's feelings, right? Like they pick up on that energy. And then the next part of this is when a woman is in a relationship, let's say that she does kind of express her feelings. I'll say from experience that, all of the women that I've dated, right? We're talking hundreds of women, several somewhat serious relationships, and then my marriage for, like the first 4 years. The number of times that a woman was truly, truly vulnerable with their feelings. So that means not trying to get any outcome at all, right? It's just expressing for the sake of expressing. No element of blame whatsoever. Whereas like I'm not making it about my man. I'm just sharing. These are just my feelings. I'm not saying you made me feel this way. I'm not saying you have to do anything. I'm not saying this is your fault. I'm just sharing. the number of times that women have truly expressed from that place of vulnerability is so far and few in between. Like it's literally like 0.5% of the time. And so, but to a woman, right, this is the thing, a woman will often think that she's being truly vulnerable and she's truly sharing her feelings. So when a man doesn't respond well, and a man, this is the thing, a man won't respond very well to anything that's not true vulnerability, right? If there's any blame, if there's any trying to get an outcome, if there's any neediness, any like reaching for an outcome, a man is not going to feel good. He's going to feel burdened. He's going to feel disrespected. And, you know, how is he going to react? He might yell. He might kind of shut down emotionally. He might kind of ignore the feelings. He might say you shouldn't feel that way, you know, all kinds of different things. And then what is the message that a woman gets programmed with? Oh, it's not safe to express my feelings. You know, men don't care about my feelings. I shouldn't share my feelings. And it's really unfortunate because, you know, there certainly are some men that are not healthy men and they truly can't hold space for a woman's feelings. But I would say that, you know, most good men, right? Like most of the men who aren't like abusive pieces of crap, they will listen to a woman's feelings if it's truly from a place of vulnerability. And so now, but here's the problem. Now there's all that fear that a woman has to not share because of her past experiences. And the like pretty much the best gift that a man can give his woman is to lead her into expressing her feelings, right? Because it's terrifying to do it with all that previous bad experiences. But if a loving man is like, just listen, I really want to learn, I want to know how you feel. Like, how do you feel right now? Tell me about what you're experiencing in your body, and expressing that from a genuine place of curiosity and non-judgment. As a woman, it's like, you know, she might still be quite scared to share, but it's like, wow, like he actually really cares. And I'll tell you, it's a lot easier for a man to push through any fear of leading in that way, right? It's easier, it's less scary for a man to say, hey, tell me how you're feeling right now, than it is for a woman to go from nothing to be like, I feel really hurt right now, right out of nowhere. That's, and every man needs to understand how scary it is for a woman. Like really put yourself in a woman's shoes and get that. And so that you can feel that sense of responsibility that you should have as a man of like, I am responsible to make my woman feel safe. I am responsible to help her express herself, right? I am responsible for making her know that her feelings are loved and cherished, right? And you know, just like with my son, where it's like, I feel responsible for your happiness in every way. I'll do whatever it takes. It's the same for a man. And it's like just like for anyone who has had a child, like you'll get this. It's like, just imagine your woman's heart is just as innocent and beautiful and in need of love as an infant, right? And it's like, you will do whatever it takes for that infant. So you should do whatever it takes for your woman's heart too, because it needs you just as much.
Wow. That was beautiful, Zach. I love the sentence where you say, because it's okay for me, like when I am authentic in my vulnerability, and this is like just fresh for me, because to put away all the unconscious, like energetical whatever I want, you know, it's not easy, because I really feel all the pain coming out, and I also feel I don't know what to do with this. I don't know if I want a hug. I don't know. I feel really like vulnerable. Like it's it is terrifying, because I cannot respond through my mind to know, is this okay that I'm like this, or I cannot be there if I'm in the true vulnerability. So I can admit that it's truly scary. And what I loved when you said, yeah, that you were there, that you love everything about your wife's heart, that you feel that everything about your wife is beautiful, every part of her, even, you know, the negative emotions like jealousy. It's hard for me to myself to admit the negative emotions. What it's a huge step for me then to say it to my man. It's like
Yeah.
I have work still to do it for to myself. So I think this is
Yeah, and that's like, you know, what we've built, right, in our women's group, and then also we're now starting women's course, an ongoing women's course, is that, you know, this is actually a way, a method to develop self-esteem, right? The process of first of all, voicing your feelings, right? Like, I feel jealous. It is giving yourself the message that your feelings matter, right? Your feelings are worthy, and you're worthy of sharing those feelings because they matter. And then so that's like one part of it, right? Which most women aren't anywhere close to yet, but that's something that they can practice every day, not just with their man, but with other men as well, right? And then every time their man shows that they care, right? It's like, oh, you feel jealous? Okay, I don't want you to feel that way. I'll change my behavior in some way. That's evidence to your mind that you are worthy, right? And that your feelings matter and that you kind of deserve the best. So if you currently have low self-worth, it's like, I don't really deserve much. You're going to continue to create that reality external to yourself, where like men aren't going to treat you well, right? You're going to get exactly what you believe. And it's a really big trap that women are in when they don't believe that they're worthy of anything, because they're going to continue to get evidence over and over that they don't deserve anything, right? Because they're going to be doing things such as not expressing themselves or chasing after their man or whatever it is that is going to recreate that internal reality in external reality. And it's like, how do you escape that, right? You just do affirmations your whole life? Like, no, I mean, there's many methods that you can use, right? But in my opinion, the most powerful one that a woman can do, especially if she already has a man, is start expressing her feelings. It's like, and completely let go of the outcome, right? It's like, get to the point where you can just, it's like, oh, you know what, if my man leaves me because I express my feelings, that's fine. I don't care. And if other men that I'm dating, right, that they leave me because I express my feelings, whatever. All I care about is I'm going to be me. I'm going to share all of my feelings, and while being responsible for my feelings too, right? I'm not going to project that onto anyone. I'm just going to express vulnerably. And the process of doing that over and over again, combined with being willing to walk away from any situation or any man who is demonstrating that he doesn't care, will build that self-worth, right? Because think about when you don't get the positive evidence from your man. Well, what can you do? Do you just stay there and keep expressing your feelings over and over again? No, because then you're just going to start to feel like crap. Whereas if you're like, you know what? I deserve better as a woman. I don't deserve to feel hurt like this. I don't deserve to be in this situation where I'm watching my man flirt with other women and I just feel increasingly jealous. And when I tell him, he doesn't even care, right? I'm walking away, right? I'm not walking away to punish him or anything like that. I'm walking away because my feelings matter. I don't deserve to feel bad like this. And then you're proving to yourself by taking that action that they do matter, right? And it's just, you can reprogram your entire brain, your entire belief set, so that over time you believe that you deserve the best and that you don't have to control any kind of outcome at all. All you have to do is express, and good things will come to you because you know and you believe in the bottom of your heart that you deserve the best.
Yeah, thank you. I feel what is maybe triggering for most women, and if I didn't have this really hard experience in relationship where I could compare what did I really wished, you know, for myself, And when you said, like that you took in a way complete control, for like in the best interest for your wife and your son. I
Mhm.
really love it's a bit like for some women could be, they could respond with like resistance,
Mhm.
because I love that you took over the financial stuff and the organization and thinking of all the details, which were always for me like overwhelming, like wow, it's so much, and to think of that and that and that. I really love that. But when you say in the book Irresistibly Feminine, you it's good maybe when you want something, like how to not say it with leading, right, to maybe ask like a permission, which is already like whoa, it's a big thing, I felt that quite new for me, but I loved the feeling. How would I feel if my man took care of everything and I would just allow him, and I would also ask him for permission, if I wanted something really badly, and not direct him into
Yes.
the outcome. Yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone watching who's not really aware of my content, like I'm probably one of the most triggering people on the internet right now. And for the women, and sometimes the men too, sometimes I trigger men, but those that actually stick with me and just stick through their triggers and work through them, I've literally had, I don't know, dozens, it might be over 100 women now in the last 6 months who've messaged me or said on Facebook, like, you know what, initially you triggered me so much, I thought you were a total asshole, whatever it is, but I stuck with you, and then realized, like, wow, you know what, he actually makes so much sense. And you know what? He's not an asshole. He actually really cares about women. But if we all have our perception filters with the way that we are seeing the world, and that that we've been programmed, right? So um, if somebody like me is saying a bunch of things that really contradict our current beliefs about like what a healthy relationship is or what is like respectful to a woman, it's going to be extremely triggering, right? And it's like you have a choice. You always have a choice. You can either work through that and like, you feel that, you go into your heart, it's like, oh, that feels really bad and triggering and whatever. But you can move through that and then start to see how what I am saying it actually makes a lot of sense. And so the thing with the leading, right? So let's break this apart. When women are in charge of things like the finances and whatever else in the household, it's like, oh, a woman should have a right to be in charge of all that kind of stuff, right? When women are in charge of that, it's like they're not enjoying it. It's never a sense of like, oh, this is so much fun to be in charge of the budgeting and the financing, right? It's so much fun to like delegate who's in charge of chores and making all these plans. Women can definitely be quite good at it, right? My wife is incredible at all of that stuff. She's so organized, such a good planner, all that kind of stuff. So it has nothing to do with competency. It's that if a woman is doing that stuff, she's not going to be enjoying it. And it's usually, actually, if she digs down deep enough, it's fear-based, right? It's, if I don't do these things, if I don't maintain control, everything's going to fall apart, right? Our finances will fall apart, our plans will fall apart, nothing's going to go well. So it's all fear. And so when a woman is in that mode, that masculine mode of leading, it's stressful. It's really stressful and draining to have to do all that stuff, and just not fun. Whereas for a man, like, here's my perspective. When a man is doing it out of devotion for his woman, it's like, yeah, it can be hard work. It's not like dealing with the finances is like, oh, I can't wait to start doing taxes. I can't wait to be planning all this stuff. But there is a sense inside of him and inside of me of like, I feel so good having this responsibility to ease my wife's burden, to ease my woman's burden. She doesn't have to worry about this. I get to take care of her. I get to protect her. I get to provide for her. And so even if some of the things that a man is doing isn't that much fun on the surface, all of the things he's doing is driven from a feeling of devotion, of love, right? It feels so good to give that love to your woman. And so it's not draining, it's self-sustaining. It's like, I can do this forever for her as long as she's giving me that respect to do it, right? And not telling me what to do and not judging me for my decisions. Because as soon as she gets into that, now it's like telling a man that you don't like his Christmas gift and that you want a different one and that he should do it better. It's like, okay, you just destroyed all the fun for me now. Now it doesn't feel like a sense of responsibility. Now it feels like you are putting this obligation on me. I can't give this to you as a gift now. I can only submit to what your expectations of me are. And now I just feel like a slave.
Yeah, it's either obligation or serving, and I prefer to serve rather to be obligated to do something. Yeah.
Yeah. And men are, and this is a thing that women, I think most women don't understand, is this is like really subtle energetics, right? It's like, it can just be that little bit of expectation that you have when you express yourself with something. A man's going to pick up on it, right? He will. And I got to just share, this is kind of going to get very conceptual, but I love this theory that this realization that I had, where I talk in my group and also in my course about beavers. And the reason why is because beavers are monogamous and they mate for life, right? And the way it works is, the male beaver mates with the female beaver. What does she do? She's sexually submitting to him, right? It's like, here's my uterus, right? You get to continue on your genes with me, right? And my genes will be intermixed in that. And the kind of like unspoken, like instinctual agreement is the male beaver is going to go out and provide and get food and stuff and build a dam and everything. And the female is going to submit, right? And as long as she's sexually submitting, then essentially, like, we'll just say it's like respecting the male beaver, right? And the male beaver feels good because all of his providing is actually helping him because it's helping his genes. And for the female, as long as the male is providing for her, then it's also in her best interest to submit sexually, right? Because it's like, okay, we're going to create some awesome babies together and our genes are going to be continued on and continued on. But with humans, it's a lot more complex because our ego structure, our belief systems are wired into this instinctual programming. So it's not just it's not just a woman's like sexual submission that matters to a man. It's actually submission to his vision, like his perfect vision of reality, his inner vision, right? Which is what he's leading towards, his expectations, his decisions about how reality should look like. And whenever she doesn't submit to that, whenever she starts saying like, no, I don't like this inner vision, let's do this, here's a solution that's better for your inner vision, that's essentially, to a man, the way it feels in his body is just like a male beaver would feel if he's trying to provide for his female beaver and she's like, nah, I don't really want to sexually submit to you anymore. I don't really want to have your kids. I'm going to go over here and date some other beavers and they can have sex with me. But I still want you to provide for me. Yeah. How is that male beaver going to feel? He is instinctually programmed to be like, screw this. I don't want to provide for you anymore. This doesn't feel good because this is not good for my genes to continue doing this. And so it's the exact same thing for a human male, right? As soon as a woman stops submitting to his inner vision, right? She's no longer just expressing, she's now trying to control that inner vision. What does the male human do? I don't want to continue giving you my gifts. This doesn't feel good for me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can totally relate because yeah, I was just not aware. If I look back at my relationship, I was not aware that it is the same, but it truly is the same. I got it from the group Relationship of Your Dreams, where I also heartily invite everybody who are listening to us or will listen later. I love the group, and all these things are there, and also with the books that you can read on Kindle and you can buy on the Amazon. It's really cheap, 21 euros for all this essence, guidance. I feel it's essence. I really feel it. And I can say that you're totally right. Submission in the sexuality is one thing that I was aware going through the books of polarity, but I was not aware to be like to be submissive in all of the things, and or to follow him as a leader, and also to give space, and also to have patience if he's a bad leader, but to be that was really important in the Irresistibly Feminine, that respect and honor the effort, right? And
Yes.
also, like, when I show my feelings, how happy I am that he's doing this, to be like, I understood, like, authentic, not to get him. It would be a mothering if I would say in a way to make him feel good, right? But just, whoa, I really feel
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it would actually be masculine, right? Because this the whole thing about receiving and showing appreciation for a man's gifts, and like, oh, like I feel so happy that you did this thing and you put in all this effort, right? It can't be coming from a place of I'm trying to make you happy, I'm trying to make you feel secure, I'm trying to make you feel appreciated, because that's actually what a man is doing for his woman, right?
Exactly.
It's like,
Yeah.
I want to make you feel as comfortable and safe and happy and loved as possible. That's what I'm always anticipating my woman's needs that way, and trying to get the most positive response for her, not for my own ego, right? Not because it's like, oh, I need you to feel good so that I can feel happy about myself. I do it because I feel happy by giving that gift and making her feel that way. But for a woman, it's the opposite. If you're in that mode of like, I need to make my man feel happy and reassured and all that stuff, that's going to feel really draining. It's not about that at all. It's about letting go of all of those expectations and kind of guards that you have up over, just over having your heart on your sleeve, right? And just being able to fully receive a man's gifts. And I've used the analogy with sex because it's so perfect, where it's like, nothing's worse for a man than having sex with a woman and she doesn't make any noises. And assuming that it's a man that actually knows what he's doing, right? But like, you could a woman who's very kind of guarded and closed off in that way could be totally silent during sex, even if it was really good sex. Maybe not really, really, really good sex, but good sex she could stay silent for. And if she does, then to a man, it's like, what's even the point of this? Like, it just feels like I'm masturbating. It's like, because for a man, he needs to be making his woman feel good. That's what gives him so much satisfaction, is knowing like, oh, I made you so happy. I made you feel so good inside. And that's what really turns me on as a man, right? Not just sexually, but also just like, I just feel activated as a man to do as much as I can for you. And so with sex, right, it's not about like, if I was to teach a woman like how to express herself during sex, I wouldn't say like, listen, you gotta make all these noises so it turns on your man, right? Because then she's gonna be kind of in her head and like, oh, I gotta be making him feel good all the time by expressing myself this way. It's not about that. It's about letting go of those inhibitions and just being able to let your man inside you, like physically, energetically, feel how good that feels on all levels, and then express it and be completely uninhibited when you express it. So it's the same thing for just throughout a relationship as it is in the bedroom.
Mhm.
Yeah. And here you mentioned also in the book where it comes the part for the man is to be honorable, and to set his own boundaries, so that when he's leading, when I'm leading, that I don't, that I always include how she feels, because I want to. This is the part of my vision is making her feel good. So I should include how she feels. And so that's like, before we mentioned that you're very you trigger so much. Yeah? And when I started to read the book, and there is these words of leadership and submission, and how the connotation is that she needs to go lower than me and I'm going to go above her. But it's not about that. When I read through the whole book, is about a man really listening like attentively to the feedback, how it is for her. So that's an important thing for a man. And when you mentioned also honesty, we want her to be honest, to tell her how she feels, but we also need to express ourselves if something is not, it's not good for us, we don't feel good about something, that we can also express that to create that space of vulnerability and sharing.
Yeah, and I think this is super important for both men and women. Okay, and for me in my marriage, the thing is that if I wasn't leading with full consideration of my wife, I wouldn't be able to get away with it. She'd just be like, nope, I don't really want to submit anymore. And that's because she has so much self-respect for her self-respect, right? And I want it, first of all, I want every woman to understand fully that what I'm talking about, this whole submission thing, it's not that you have to do it and you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't continue to submit to undevotional leadership, because your needs deserve to be considered, your needs and feelings, just as much as your man's. And so if you're feeling in your body that like, I'm not being considered, I'm feeling hurt, I'm feeling whatever, it's like, you don't have to continue submitting, and you shouldn't, because submission is a gift, right? And um, for a man, it's really important to, if your woman doesn't have that level of self-respect that my wife has, you can actually help her build that by being truly honorable and treating her with as much consideration, right? So that you're basically giving her that evidence, that proof that like, listen, you deserve like love and consideration just as much as I do. And because if you don't, right, if you take advantage as a man, well, there's two problems that are going to happen. One is that you're going to be less attracted to your woman automatically, right? The more you take advantage of your woman, the less attracted you're actually going to become to her, especially as you start to really negatively affect her self-esteem. And if you actually care about her at all, then you need to check yourself and be like, I'm not going to do that. I'm in this relationship to add value to her, not to take it away, not to take advantage. And before I came into this whole masculine feminine polarity understanding, I would test my wife's boundaries all the time. It was actually really fun for me. Like, I'll just poke and poke and poke and see what I can get away with. And that's a really big problem, that you can't do that if you, once you recognize your responsibility as a man, as a leader, right? Because if you're expecting your woman to submit, then she needs to be able to let down all of her guards with you and stop defending herself against your leadership, right? She needs to feel safe to just open up and be like, okay, like I'll do what you say. But for her to feel that safe and to stay feeling that safe, a man needs to develop honor, right? And decide, like, I am going to make the best decisions that I can for both of us and consider her just as much as I consider myself, even if I could get away with less, right? Even if I could get away, and just take like cheating, for example, would be a good example. I think there's like 2/3 of both men and women they've written that, I would cheat if I could fully get away with it. Right. And it's like, you can't do that as a man. I go, how can you possibly expect your woman to submit and trust you if you would do something like that, if you could totally get away with it and she would never know? So you have to develop that honor in yourself and be like, I don't care if I would get $100 million and I could like have sex with 50 women a day and my woman would never know about it. No, I'm not going to do that, because my honor is more important than absolutely anything, right? That is the code of ethics that I live by, is doing the right thing, even if I could get away with doing the wrong thing. And the thing is, if you don't have honor, if you haven't established that, your woman's going to feel that. Women are extremely intuitive in that way, and they can sense. That's a danger, right? Essentially, a dishonorable man is dangerous. And so if you don't have that honor, she's going to have a lot of difficulty feeling safe to submit to you, because somewhere in her body, she knows that it's not safe to do this, that this is a man who's probably going to take advantage, and I need to keep my guards up.
Yeah, which doesn't lead anywhere. I think it was a mind blow for me when I read a man takes decision for both of us. Like, it was, who? What does that mean? But the feel in the body was like, oh, I can relax. I can lean back. Somebody's actually caring for me. And
Really?
of course, there needs to be a lot of trust. We proved like that I can be vulnerable first for myself, then I still need a polygon to try it now with all these informations, how it works. But I can say, if before a man said to me, yeah, you do this like this and this, I would say, no, you are not going to say to me what I will do. Like, whoa, bum. And I didn't understood that this is actually devotion, and this is actually something good for me. But thanks God, I can feel it. I can feel it now. So yeah, it's a mind blow, and it's amazing. So yeah, we are already at the end of our call. I feel like we just warmed up, but maybe maybe we can make a conclusion. But before we do that, I would really love to invite everybody again to submit to relationship of your dreams. That I never felt, because for me is to feel. It's important. I don't give a damn to read, and it doesn't attract me. But here I felt this attraction. I still feel it. I am in this group for now 3 months, I feel, and I feel the changes, and I'm doing the therapy work for 2 years now, and I am astrologist. I did so many things, organizing shamanic retreats, and I really, where I thought I could solve these problems, and I couldn't. And I really feel this is like a Prometheus, a fire, I feel, of awareness, where you are, man, there leading this into something amazing. So I would just like to invite everybody again to submit to this relationship of your dreams. I will also put it on my timeline so they can submit, and to find Zak Roedde on the Amazon. Worthy Woman, Don't Let Her Lead, and Irresistibly Feminine. They are really, this is really like, I don't know, coffee money to receive such an amazing knowledge, guidance on this thematic.
Yeah, I want to emphasize that these games that we play, like both of us, men and women, trying to get our needs, our wants met in some way, and we're frustrated about this game that we keep on playing. And what I found out reading this is that this is a straight-on approach to ending that game and coming into full honor, independent on who we are, what our background story is. If we want to go ahead from here on out towards a solution in our relationship, I find this is the best way. So I really recommend
Yeah.
that you just read the book and you read through all of it, just to take it in. If you haven't got a sense from what we've been talking about, leadership and submission, and it is a whole new perspective, that it's not the way we've been conditioned in the society of what leadership and submission is. That it's something really natural and working for both of us.
Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, I'm sorry. But I just saw we got first question. I don't know if people in Slovenia or in general, like pulling back. It's from Claudia Lesnik, how to build self-esteem like a single mother. And I remember that was also in the group where we talked about it. Maybe just shortly for an ending, if you have 2 minutes more, Zach. And then
Yeah, I can give this one my best shot. So, the method that I teach, the primary method is through action, right? And it's going to be action with a man. So I mean, you can be a single mother and still date, and so you can apply all of this same information that we talk about. And but the other part of that is a lot of your self-esteem stuff can actually be healed without even doing anything with the man at all, right? And I have actually gotten so much feedback from women who've read my books, and especially the ones that have joined my group and have heard David and I talk, because we have like over 60 hours of videos where they go through so much healing, because what we're doing is we are giving women our truth and shining the light on part of themselves that they have for so long denied and kind of judged and seen as bad in some way. And we're like, no, hey, guess what, this part of yourself is beautiful, and you should show it all the time, and you should love it as much as David and I do, and we want you to express it, and we want you to share. And so so you can honor your own feelings in that way and shine, and that light can be shone much brighter because of us, but also just reading my books, it can bring up a lot, and it can be very releasing and therapeutic, where you'll recognize things in yourself that you've denied, and you'll have a lot of good cries, and just cry as much as you can about it. And while you're crying, you give love to that part of yourself, right? And you just accept that part of yourself that you've been denying. And so just that act can help your self-esteem a lot. But I think the major self-esteem building is really going to come in the world as you kind of you walk the talk, essentially, right? Where it's like you start expressing, and you start walking away from anything less than you deserve.
yeah, thank you, Zach. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm really your #1 fan. That's true. And I just want to show the book, Truth Cock. You said the truth, that you're bringing up the truth. Mark just wrote me, so he will be our next guest. I'm I'm really excited. And
Fantastic.
yeah, I'm really happy that you spend this time with us and that we open the field for these questions, because they they are triggering, because we have so many different informations. And I love what you do. I am like really happy, and I hope you, like many people, come, and maybe with Gregor in divine timing, because this is something we need to integrate too. We open something for Slovenians, or I don't know, let's see. But for now, I'm just glad that this knowledge and Prometheus fire of awareness is spreading, and that you're doing it. I'm like
Yeah.
really feels a release in my body that this is actually happening, and that they are just clear guidance says how to go through this. So yeah, thank you.
Ma, I really appreciate it, and I agree. You are my biggest fan, and this is exactly what I'm hoping for. Is that my big fans spread the word as much as possible, so that I don't have to do it, because really the information speaks for itself. So thank you all for having me on. And if you want to learn more about me, my books are on Amazon, and you can also go to my website, relationshipofyourdreams.com. I've got private paid groups where you can learn so much more than what's in the box, and take it much, much further. And yeah, I hope some of you join me.
Good, thank you everybody, and goodbye for today. So Loisa.